matrix number is B08191035.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Ainul Balqis. My matrix number is B0819102226 and I'm from class BEEA S1/2.
I will explain about lab 3. This is basic input and output for 7 segment control. So in this part, we will be interfacing a 7 segment display with Arduino Uno and learn to display a counting up and counting down from 0 to 9 on 7 segment display. So this is the simple coding for the 7 segment. What is the BCD? So this is a BCD. BCD is converting digital signal to analog that we can learn and can be understood easily. Okay, next. So for the exercise, we need to modify our program and circuit and add SD2. First, counting up from 0 to 9 at SD1 and counting down from 9 to 0 at SD2. So that is the coding that we change. So let's see if this work or not. So this is our circuit. Arduino Uno, BCD and 2 7 segment. And this is our coding. First, mention about the output pin at the board setup. And then this is for board 7 segment display. We can in this 7 segment display, we need to mention all the pin, which is pin A, pin B, pin C, pin D, and the integer value. So this is for while loop. This is coding for counting up from 0 to 9, and this is coding we use for counting down from 9 to 0. Okay, so let me see is the program work or not. Well, the 7 segment 1 will counting up, while the 7 segment 2 will counting down, and it will be continuously because in the coding we don't put if or else, so it will run in loop. Okay, next we go to the part 2. For the part 2, we have 2 7 segment and 2 push button. So for the part 2, we need to study how to you can see after we run the simulation part for the two 7 segment display, the value will be 0. When we push the push button 1, the display in SD2 will start counting. So let me see. So this is our circuit. Refer to the lab sheet. Same goes to lab sheet. Okay, we have a 2 7 segment and 2 push button, and we will go to the coding. This is the coding. So for the coding, seems like previous coding before. Need to mention everything in as a output, which is we need to mention the pin of SD7 segment 1 and pin for 7 segment 2 and the push button 2 and push button 3. So for the push button, we need to mention about number 0 is equal to value, integer value, times to 10%, and number 1 is the integer of value over 10 times 10%. So this we go to height and low. We can see we can use 1 and 0 too instead of height and low to control the 7 segment, which is turn on or turn off. So this is our loop, board loop. We need to switch 1 when we mention it, and switch 1 is digital with 2 and switch 2 is digital with 3. And this is we use if else, that is we need to be can be a switch, like when we want to push switch 1 only, the coding, the coding, the number will count up, and when we push button 2, the 7 segment will count down, and if we don't push any button, the coding will be stopped at the count number. So let's try. So what can we see? We push the first push button 1, and the LED will count it up. If I don't push a push button 1, so we can see the LED will stop at the counting number, which is number 3. So now I will push the push button 2 to see number in countdown. So this from 3 count to 2 and 1 and so on. So that's for part 2. So we proceed to our next. So for the task, first write according to display a number counting from 1 to 99 using 7 segment in protein software. So this is our coding. So for coding, just same as previously, we need to mention all the pin out, and then we use a value to count. So for this part, we need to mention from 0 to 100 for the counting up. So for the void loop, just mention it So let's see how it's work. That's that's that is the circuit for the part 1. Actually you need to use 2 7 segment. So let's see again. So you can see the 7 segment will count it up from 1 to 99. For the task 2, we need to design a counter using Arduino with LED and 7 segment that control by 2 buttons as follow the instruction below. So we need 2 LED, 2 red LED, 1 yellow LED and 1 green LED, 1 7 segment and push button for start push button. So is called the circuit for LED, which is 2 red LED, 1 yellow LED and 1 green LED, 1 7 segment and 1 push button. So LED for the process, LED is an indicator for the counter display at 7 segment. The counter will start when start push button is pressed. If the counter 0 to 2, 2 red light LED will turn on, and if the counter 3 to 4, 1 red light will turn on. If the counter 5 to 7, 2 red light and 1 yellow LED will turn on. If the counter 8 to 9, all LED will turn on. So let's see how it works. So this is our circuit. And this is our coding. So for the coding, first we need to mention all the pin that using. Okay, this is using for the 7 segment. This also for the 7 segment output. So this is for push button, using a pin 4. For the LED, using the pin from pin 5 to pin 8. So for the setup, for the button we need to mention it for input, because when we push the push button, the segment will open. So we need to mention it for input, and other we mention in output. And next, for the void loop, we need the condition 1. Basically, for the start button, and then this coding for 0 to 2, which is 2 red light, red LED will on and others will close. Then from 3 to 4, only 1 red LED will on and others is off. And for the 5 to 7, 3 LED will light, which is 2 red light and 1 yellow light will hide, others is off. And from 8 to 9, all LED will turn on. Okay, so let's see. So we don't push any push button, so the push button, so the 7 segment will stop there. Once we push the push button. Sorry. Okay. So if we don't push any push button, the same segment never run counting. Once we push the push button, the 7 segment start to counting up, and the LED will turn on and turn off like we mentioned at the coding. And it will run continuously because we use in a void loop. So that's all for the lab 3. I will pass it with my friend to share about lab 4.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. Today I want to share about lab 4 about LCD and keypad. In this lab, we use LCD and keypad for 4x4 and 4x3. This is an example of the LCD. The LCD we use is 16x2, stand for row and column. This is a row. This is row and this is column, stand for row and column. And we use in this lab we use keypad. Okay, this is keypad. This keypad stands for 4x4, 4. And on the question, we use 4x3 for keypad phone. Like this, 4x3 for keypad phone. Okay. For part 1, we use Arduino Uno and LCD and run the simulation. This is figure of part 1. We have Arduino Uno and LCD display. We use 6x2 LCD display. And this is coding for part 1. We use LCD begin for display 16x2, and we want to print message hello world at LCD display. And we set at void loop, we set LCD set cursor 0, 1 for the first column of second row, and we use LCD print for void loop to print message for lab 4 LCD keypad. When we run the simulation, the LCD will display hello world and lab 4 LCD keypad. That's all for lab 4 part 1. And then we for the question exercise for part 1, we want to modify a program at the second row, BEEA BEA2374 and LED4 LCD keypad. We must stay the first column hello world, and at second row it will display BEA and LED4 LCD and keypad. We use same simulation as same figure for the exercise part 1. And this is coding for exercise part 1. We have at box setup, we have LCD begin. This stand for the LCD display 16x2. At the void loop, we have set cursor 00 for the hello world. Hello world still, and at we set the LCD set cursor for 01 for pre-message BEA2374 and delay. When we use delay, LCD delay, we have put that in the void loop, and it must have a LCD clear on delay on the void loop. And then we have at the same 00 at 01 we have LED4 to print LED4 and LCD keypad. On the simulation we can see when we use the delay for just row 1 just still, and we delay the output for second row. When we run the simulation, we can see hello world still, and it's come out BEA2374, and delay it's come out LED4 LCD keypad. That for exercise part 1, that wants to come out BEA dengan LED4 on delay time. Okay, now for the part 2, we have LCD display and keypad. Keypad that we use is 4x4 and Arduino Uno. This is figure of part 2. We have LCD, we use 16x2, and we have keypad 4x4. Okay, in the keypad we have 4x4. 4x4 stand for row and column. This is row, and this is column. And then we define char key. Char key is on the keypad. Like this. Okay, on the keypad. Okay, this keypad 7, 8, 9. This char when we state char key on the command, it will display on the simulation, on the Proteus simulation. When we press the keypad, it will come on the LCD display. And then on the setup, we have to 2 ni for LCD display, 16x2, and we want to print message keypad LCD test on the void setup. And then on the void loop, we have keypad get key, and then we want to print second and milli and we have set cursor on the what we call when we press the keypad, it will display on the LCD on the 9 on the column 9 and row 1, if I not mistake. Okay, this is when we run the simulation. When we run the simulation, LCD will display a keypad LCD test, and for the second, when we press the keypad like 7, the key will come out 7, and when we press 1, the key will come out 1. When we press X, it will come out B. Why it's come out B is on the coding, we set the key untuk key for the debug is B, and when we press the key, it will come up B. That's all for part 2, and then we continue for the question. For question, we have to write a code to begin your name and at upper row and your metric number at lower row. And this we use the same what we call a figure like part 1. We has Arduino Uno and we has LCD display. This is coding on the board setup with we have LCD begin. It stands for display of the LCD, and then we have a void loop. Void loop we have LCD bin because on the question it wants we to blink the name and our metric number, and then we set cursor for the 00 for print our name on the LCD screen, and then we have to set cursor 01 for print metric number, and it have delay. Okay. When we run the simulation, we can see it's okay, sabar. Okay, it's blink. We can see my metric number and my name blink. Okay, that's for exercise for question 1. And then for question 2, we have to modify the keypad. We use keypad phone. In part 2, we have keypad 4x4. In part question, we have used 4x3 keypad phone. Okay, this is a figure of the question 2 for question. We use keypad phone and we use LCD display. This is command for the keypad phone. We use 4x3 stand for row and column. Okay, 4x3 for row and column. This is row and this is column. And we must state a char key for on the keypad. We have 1, 2, 3, and we have to state it. And then on the board setup, LCD begin. This is LCD begin for 16x2, And on the LCD, we display message keypad LCD test, and we have to set cursor 01 to print berapa minit dia keluar untuk apabila kita tekan press button. Okay, lepas tu set cursor 9 to when we press the button, it will come out key. Okay, like this. When we run, the LCD will display keypad LCD test. This is when we start in the command, display second. When we press the button 1, the key is 1 for 1 second, and then when we press 4, it will come out 4 until, and so on. That's all for the part Lab 4 for part LCD and keypad.